I think the best thing to make for that special someone on Valentine's Day is sharing plates. Be that for your date, friends, or family. It's just a lovely spread that you can gather around and enjoy together. So here is a little menu that I've come up with for different sharing plates you can make. And we're going to start by preparing the dessert, which are really easy honey and passion fruit chocolate cups. So start off by making chocolate ganache. So boil some cream. I just do it quickly in the microwave. Then add some broken pieces of good quality dark chocolate. Leave it to sit for like 30 seconds and then stir it from the center until it all combines together and goes silky smooth. Then you can flavor ganache with whatever you fancy really, but I absolutely love the combo of passion fruit and chocolate together. I think it works so well, and there's just something about passion fruit and Valentine's Day. It feels right, you know. So I'm juicing some passion fruits. I've gone for 3 of them, try to get as much out as possible and remove the seeds, and then also adding some honey for a bit of sweetness, and it pairs really nicely with the chocolate and the passion fruit. So stir that in and then pour it into containers to leave it to set. So you can do little coffee cups, or you can reuse the actual passion fruit halves, just clean them out and then pour some chocolate in there and then put them in the fridge, and that's dessert sorted. I like to finish it off with a little sprinkle of sea salt. I actually had chili sea salt, so I used that, which also works really well, but you can forgo this step, although I would say salt and chocolate is just the best. Then I'm making my own focaccia. You could obviously buy bread in if you want to make this a bit simpler, but I've made my dough, left it to rest. Then I'm spreading it out into an oiled dish and going to leave that to rise, and once it's lovely and bubbly, I'm going to add more extra virgin olive oil on top, create some nice dimples to help it rise evenly in the oven, and I'm flavoring it with some chili flakes, some oregano, some salt, generous amount of salt, and also a little bit of sumac on there as well. And that goes into the oven to bake, and all that's left to do is to slice it up into nice portions for dipping. Now, speaking of dips and things that are going to go on the bread, I'm preparing a strawberry and balsamic jam to go with goat's cheese. So I'm taking frozen strawberries, which I'm going to cook in the microwave until they soften, and then adding some balsamic vinegar, some pomegranate molasses, or you can use some honey. And I'm going to flavor it as well with lots of black pepper, because those all pair together really nicely and also will just highlight the goat's cheese really well. And just leave that to set in the fridge for like half an hour, just so it cools down and it'll thicken up. And then when you're ready for your meze or sharing plates, you just create a nice little bed of strawberry jam, if you will, and top that with a lovely soft goat's cheese. And that's perfect to eat as is or spread on our focaccia. Then another nice little something to dip our focaccia in. I've got some chantenay carrots while they're in season, and I'm going to roast them with some harissa, honey, garlic, salt, and extra virgin olive oil, kind of like confying them like you would tomatoes, but more seasonal. We're using little carrots, and just cook them until they're lovely and tender and start to caramelize. I've also added a bit of sumac on top, but that is optional. I just think the acidity works really well with the sweetness and the spice. Then again, more dips for our focaccia. I'm making a classic hummus. This is the ottolenghi recipe, where you boil them with a bit of cumin and salt, and then reduce the water down, and then blitz them while they're hot with lots of tahini and ice cubes, and it makes it super silky and smooth. And you make it slightly runnier than you think it ought to be, because it stiffens up as it cools and becomes lovely and whipped and delicious. And I've added some lemon juice to it, and then I'm going to plate it up, create a nice big mound in the middle, and then flatten that up, creating a little well oil that I can then add lots of extra virgin olive oil to, and also top it up with a bit of salt, a bit of sumac, and some parsley sprigs just to brighten it all up. Then I'm also going to make my winter caprese salad. I've got a separate video and recipe for that, but it's basically beetroot endives, mozzarella, lots of citrus, extra virgin olive oil, and some pomegranate molasses and dill to finish it off. And then this is such a hack for something that looks really special and fancy, but is actually really easy, is some kind of like fancy Russian nachos, if you will. So we're taking some lightly salted crisps, layering some creme fraiche, but if you don't have it, you could also mix some lemon juice into cream cheese, plop a few dollops of that all over, and then add dollops of lumpfish caviar. This isn't the really fancy caviar, it's actually quite affordable, but it gives you that same lovely salty, umami, fishy goodness that caviar does. I think I've never had caviar, I've only ever had the cheaper fish eggs, but I really like them. Anyway, tangent aside, that's all you need to do, and finish it up with some dill and just keep layering that up, and that looks amazing and is super simple. So then this is how I like to cook steak, and I think it comes out perfect every time. You want to dry it off, sear it, season it in the pan, sear it on both sides, so the pan has got to be really smoking hot when it goes in. And then once you've got both sides kind of crusty and brown, you add in butter, you let that butter melt, and then you're going to spoon the butter over the top of the steak and kind of bathe it in the butter as it finishes cooking. And however long you cook it in the pan, you want to leave it to rest for as much time. So this is cooked in total about 6-7 minutes in the pan, because it was a very thick steak, and so I'm going to leave it to rest for that long. And you want to try and cut it against the grain so that it's perfect and tender. Then to plate this steak up, I cannot recommend this enough. It works so well. It's like umami goodness, is making your own ponzu. So I'm taking all the citrus that I used in my salad, and I'm using the juice from those and mixing it with soy sauce. And I'm going to plate that on the bottom for my steak, and that's going to season it. And then for a little extra crunch and kick, I'm going to top it with crispy chili oil, and all those flavors just work beautifully. It's the most satisfying bite and makes the steak really special. And then as a drink, because I've used blood oranges in my salad, I got some blood orange juice. So I've made a syrup, mixing that with lemon juice and sugar. And then I have the chickpea water from my hummus. I'm going to use that in there as well, and add some whiskey and make a lovely blood orange whiskey sour to serve up. It's beautiful and pink, so perfect for Valentine's Day, and super simple. And it's making sure to use all the different bits of my spread. So it's a nice zero waste hack that actually looks really fancy and tastes amazing. And that's it. All that's left to do is put it all on the table and tuck in and enjoy. But the beauty of sharing plates is you can make them your own, add things that both of you like, and really go crazy with whatever you have in the house. And you don't have to make it all. You can also buy things in, buy the hummus, buy the focaccia, make it simple but enjoy. So have a lovely Valentine's Day and bon appétit.